I remember after my debut, I was very, very devastated. I was not doing well. Yesterday, after the debut, I wanted to be there for the girls. That's the reason why I stayed up until like 7 a.m. Because I was still like riding with some of the girls. Because they, someone voiced some concerns, and I could relate. I was very relating to those concerns. So I just wanted to be there to you know, be there as a senpai and tell them they're not alone. And I've been through that too, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, okay? It's really not just a freaking fairy tale. This is a problem maybe that a lot of people have when they look at Hololive and they're like, I want to become a VTuber, and especially one in Hololive because that's a successful company, and I will go there, I will have lots of fans, I will be famous, I will make lots of money. So that's how a lot of girls think, I think. And that we get so many auditions from people who don't know. Because how could you know unless you take off your pink glasses for a moment? You just underestimate how the real world actually is. Like, it's a virtual world, but it's not just streaming and being happy every day and becoming famous and getting all the cash, okay? Like, that's really the wrong attitude to come into this. And I think a lot of people who audition have the wrong idea. It's gonna be tough, like, I mean, it's easy to underestimate that. Fucking hell, that was horrible. Yeah, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure. It's very scary at times. Very, very scary at times. If you are someone who is a little bit sensitive, then it's gonna be tough. Because, yeah, having a big audience is fun and all, but what comes with that is having a lot of haters as well automatically. With 2 fans always comes 1 hater. It is a little bit impossible to completely ignore that kind of stuff. You can definitely try and ignore most of it. But if you don't have thick skin, then you have to grow it quickly once you join. Because otherwise you will fall into a deep, deep hole of depresso espresso and not be able to get out of it. A lot of people underestimate what comes with joining Hololive, but I'm not blaming anyone for doing that, because I think probably all 5 of us in Hololive Myth also underestimated it a little bit in the beginning. But with Hololive comes other things. There also, besides haters and shit, also comes a lot of restrictions that a lot of people don't know about when they audition, and they probably also won't know until they are actually in here and are experiencing it themselves. There's a lot of, like, I always talk very openly about it, but there's a lot of things I'm not telling you guys either. And I personally don't have many issues with that kind of stuff because I'm kind of used to it. Lived in Japan before, and I know how Japanese companies work and think. And for me, it wasn't so difficult to get used to that at all, because it was normal for me. But for other people, they might have an issue with that. With how a Japanese company works and operates, and yeah. Or also, just a big VTuber company compared to being an indie. You don't have that much freedom. Still, I would say I personally do have a lot of freedom in most of the things. Like, I decide what games I play. I decide how I want to present myself and express myself and that kind of stuff. But there's other things where I had no input. Let's just say my body was created by a god called Hukepapa before I even knew it. Who decides? Who decides how they look like when they are born? Who decides that? I I did have a lot of input for the casual outfit. But yeah, there's other things that I did have no input in, and that's okay for me. Like, but that's something that other people I think would be like surprised about. They come in here and they're like, "Oh, I think I want my model to look like this. I want the model that I debut with to look exactly like this." Probably not going to happen. Sorry, don't want to shatter your dreams. There's other cases with, like, you know, there were Hololive auditions where the model was like public and you were able to see what you're auditioning for. Then there's auditions where the model is not public, but you still don't. It's still kind of like already created, but you don't know what you're really auditioning for. You know what I mean? And then there are cases where members are able to create it together. Like there's all different kind of cases. All of those cases exist. For me, the second one was the case. So I think a lot of people assume that we decided all of this on our own, but I just wanted to clear up that is not the case for every Hololive girl. Just want to be a bit more transparent about things, you know? It's just a little bit like weird to talk about it because it kind of like breaks the fourth wall a little bit, but at the same time, I mean, you guys were not able to decide what you look like when you were born, right? So